I've
Yes.
always said that since a young age, I am a Fruit Loop in a world of Cheerios. So if you
Yes.
realize that, I'm a colorful Fruit Loop in a world of Cheerios. So, and I try to encourage that same mindset on every business owner, every salesperson. What are you doing that's different? Now, this is a question I have because I've done your team transformation event in the past, and that was virtual and that was amazing. One of my biggest takeaways that you talked about was changing the perspective of the entire team. Every team member has their own perspective. And you did an exercise where you said, take your hand and go counterclockwise. I
Counterclockwise.
did, but then raise it up and you're going to look, and now it's going clockwise. And I'm with the whole team was like, what? And that just goes to show you have to look at things from a different perspective.
Mhm.
So team members, they're not all going to be looking at and listening to the doctor say things and all understand it and take it the same way the doctor's perception is on it. So talk to me about this team transformation event, who the ideal audience is for that. Yes, if you're marketing to dental and ortho, but can this be open to all sorts of teams? Because I know, I mean, there was, I want to say hundreds. I don't know if you got to 1,000 yet. The
Yeah.
team transformation event I did, I remember looking on the side chat and just scrolling through hundreds of orthodontic offices, but there was also consultant team members and
Yep.
consultants on there. So go into a little bit of your team transformation event and when the next event is going to be.
Yeah, I love it. We actually have had over, I think it's 1,300 now, team members who've gone through the team transformation experience. That first one you were on was about 650. And what's cool about it is I wanted a place where we could say, all right, going to AAO is awesome. Going to PCSO, amazing. And that's a lot of expense for a doctor.
Yeah.
And there needs to be a way where doctors can and teams can have team building events without having to travel, without having to have the liability of, unfortunately, team members who take advantage of being able to have the open bar at these events, and there can be problems there. And I've heard those stories. And so I said, what if we created a 1 day, kind of like a Tony Robbins type event where people don't have to travel, but they can get motivated, they can have fun, they can learn together, they can stay in their offices, they can be comfortable in that space and have a day of celebration of them and learning. And that perspective piece is something I actually, in my live trainings, do even deeper because I have a whole game that I play that really solidifies that idea. How different would our offices be if every day we realized and we recognized I'm not going to have the same perspective as she is or he is. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to have the same perspective today as I did yesterday.
Right. You're so true.
And everything changes perspective. And so if we got that, I think it's a worldwide thing. If we, especially as a country right now, look, we could look at this and go, if we all just really, really understood, they're just seeing it through a different perspective. They're not right or wrong. They just have a different perspective than I do.
Yeah.
Then I can have some empathy. Then I can have some connection. Then I can actually communicate with somebody. But the moment I say, no, your perspective's wrong, and why don't you see my perspective only? And we just talked about this yesterday. So how could you possibly think this way now? It just destroys things. And so we took the team transformation experience and we really did. You saw it. We do it in a studio. It's multi-camera. It's lights. It's everybody plastered up on a screen so we can see everybody.
I felt like I was on a game show or like in the audience, like a talk show. I did not think I was just logging into another Zoom meeting. It was beyond that. My perspective changed. Okay.
Yeah, totally. And that's one of the reasons. So I believe when I teach speakers, one of the things I talk a lot about is context over content is the most important thing. So the context, the framework that you create is more important than the product or the data that you deliver. Because if I have, and this is an example I use all the time, if I have this, let's say my water bottle here, and I told you inside the water bottle is the water from the Fountain of Youth. I mean, this is $1 million water right here.
Yeah.
And if when I go to drink the water, you notice there is a crack in my water bottle that every time I pick it up, it's leaking. It's coming up. You're not focused on the water inside this. You're focused on he's got a crack in the thing. That's context. That's context. The content, everybody gets it. It's context that we got to worry about. So we try to set up a context that this is not going to be your same old Zoom meeting. This is not going to be, it is game show. We do literally have a wheel
Yeah.
prompt, right? We send you out a wow box where you get stuff where you get to throw up little emojis and you get to like have clappers and you get to have a
Touch
little,
my energy.
yeah. What would Dino do? A bobblehead, right? Like that type of stuff. It's,
A
it's,
magician, all the things. You have
I
cool
just
guys.
I want to create, I think we deserve as an industry to think more outside the box and to have more experience together. Think about it this way. Every memory you have in your life is from an experience you had with either someone or something, every meaningful one. Yesterday I had the opportunity to go visit. I mentioned I worked as a DJ in Hollywood for a while, and I grew a company there called Al Lampkin Entertainment. Well, Al is now lives here in Utah as well. He and his wife moved out here a while ago. Well, Al and Rita are getting up there, and Rita's in a home where has dementia and she can't remember things. She doesn't remember me at all. And um, I got to go and visit him yesterday and just say, really, thank you, Al, for teaching me what you taught me. He's an old type entertainer, right? Kind of vaudeville type thing. He's a magician, a comedian, an actor, just the sweetest guy, always cracking a joke, always has something in the pocket, and still that way, even though now he's in a walker and he's not going to probably be on this earth too much longer. But the experience I had with Al taught me how to create more experiences for people and how important that is. And that's what we do with Team Transformation Experience. That's what you do. You're creating experiences online and you're teaching offices. It's not about advertisement. It's about experience. And
Grabbing people's attention, getting them to stand out. I've always said since a young age, I am a Fruit Loop in a world of Cheerios. So if you realize that, I'm a colorful Fruit Loop in a world of Cheerios. So, and I try to encourage that same mindset on every business owner, every salesperson. What are you doing that's different? And you're the exact same way going through your speaking workshops and your team transformation events and your practice management workshops. Like you're infusing that in a really believable, natural, high example kind of way. So these two things that you're doing are amazing for business owners. So
Fruit Loop and a group of Cheerios. That's so true.
Fruit Loop in a world of Cheerios. Yeah, I'm obsessed with that. So even when I give gifts, like no thank you I'm done with sending thank you cards. Now I show up to businesses and do surprise singing telegrams or surprise prank and dress up in disguise. Like I will do, those are the things that make me thrive. Okay. So if you're a business owner listening and you need some help with your team and the diversity is just not working out, Dino Watt is your guy. If you're like, oh, my slogan is retreat you like family, I'm going to flip the script on that. So that's where you can hire me to come up with some really creative out of the box strategies. And if you're looking to add humor into the workplace, I'm your girl too. I'm very passionate about bringing humor into the workplace because I feel I was trained wonderfully in all my previous jobs and as a TC, but I wasn't ever trained on how to enjoy the job.
Yeah.
So that is my job, to help people enjoy their job by coming up with fun, humorous ways to interact with themselves, their team members, their bosses, and their patients parents. And you can do that with all aspects of the office. So I know you didn't ask me any questions, but I know.
No, I think it's true. I love it because listen, even when you say, when people say we're going to treat you like family, well, there was the Manson family too. So which family, right? Which family?
Yeah,
We're talking the Waltons, we're talking the Ingalls, we're talking the Mansons. Like there's all different types of families. So you got to really understand what that means. And you can't make it a cliche. And, Janelle, one of the things that, this with people out there who don't know Gary Vaynerchuk, he talks about attention is the number one currency in the world right now. And we have a whole generation who is spending their currency, their attention on TikTok and Instagram. And whether you like it or not, and I know you come up against people who fight against this, like, well, why does it have to be this way? And I don't want to change. Like, everything changes.
Yeah.
Everything changes. And you need to learn how to grab that attention. And again, one of the things that's unique about you that's interesting is, so, I teach this thing called USP, and a lot of people look at your unique sales proposition. when it comes to speakers and consultants and coaches, it's your unique stage presence.
Yeah.
And you have to know what that is for you. And part of that is your life experience. You being a clown or having had clown experience, you being singing telegrams. All of us have that.
Yeah.
We just overlook it. Like you're tapping into those things saying, hey, this is a part of me. I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to utilize it.
Monetize off of it and share it with the world.
Totally. So in the last class of the Stand and Deliver, we had a guy who's an engineer. Now, listen, I have a son-in-law who's an engineer too. And those are the type of people who laugh on the inside. They're not usually going to be showing their expressions too much. So he's like, Dino, I don't really, my unique USP is that I've had a lot of failures in my life. So I guess I could talk about that. I was like, wait, that's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, you've had the life experience. Anyways, come to find out, he plays the bass. And I went, oh, can you imagine if you were at an engineering conference and you were going up to speak and you walked out with your portable amp and your bass guitar and you plug it in, you get that little feedback, thing. First of all, you got everybody's attention because there are a bunch of engineers going, why is this guy bringing out a bass guitar? Yeah. And you started using that bass guitar and started building a song and say, as engineers, we got to have strong foundations. That's the first thing we got to do is have a good, strong foundation like this and start strumming that guitar and hitting certain chords. And then you build it up and you build it up to a song that they all recognize, whatever big bass song there is out there that you recognize, but you build it up to big crescendo and you build the song. Point is, he was blown away. He's like, I never in a million years would have thought bringing my bass guitar into my engineering job, especially on stage. And I said, but that's what it is. That's whether you are a clown or whether you have makeup experience or whether you've done stand-up comedy or whether you've gone through cancer or whether you have, you're on your 5th divorce or whatever it is. Yeah. That's your uniqueness. And it's okay to bring that. And people will connect with you if you do it that way.
And you help coach people through the speaking workshop, like help to pull that out and get their mind.
Yeah, that's a big part of our thing. Yeah, that's a big part of our thing. Wow. We have a mutual friend. We have a couple mutual friends in this space, Michelle Shimon, Jill Allen, and Tracy Martin. They were at my house doing a VIP of this one weekend. And it all came from Jill saying to me, she's like, Dino, we were like 2 days in. And she goes, Dino, I just got to say, she goes, I can't be funny like you are on stage. That's not who I am. And I went, oh, no. The last thing I want you to be is like me on stage. I'm giving you structure. I'm giving you how-tos, all this stuff, but I don't want you to be me. Jill, you ride motorcycles, not like, oh, I ride a little motorcycle. No, you ride dirt bikes in that like that is part of your uniqueness.
In ravines, yeah.
Right. And so Michelle mentioned, she goes, I have a degree in psychology. And I went, what? I would never know this. I had no idea. I've known you for now, I think almost 5 years. I never knew that. And she's like, should I talk about, why would you not use that on stage to say, I get people. I literally have a degree in understanding people. That's why I do what I do. It gives you a great earn the right and to fill that foundation. And that's my point. People overlook this history. I was actually, as you were talking earlier, there's a book I wanted to mention because I love how it brings out, it talks about bringing out all of the past experience of your life to cultivate that into where you are now. And there are so many examples of that. And it is called, it's right here. I'll bring it up. I'm a big audiobook fan.
Same. Yeah. Let's hear this book. Viewers listening, if you're listening or watching this, make sure you get a pen and paper.
Where to go? The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership.
15 Commitments
of Conscious Leadership. And it's really just a great walkthrough of, and the guy just talks about in it. Oftentimes we just dismiss. Remember that time that I learned how to flip hamburgers at In-N-Out?
Yeah.
How does that relate to my job now 20 years later? What were the things that I learned? I used to work at Circuit City years. That was one of my first jobs when I was first married. And I'll never forget a manager who taught me the idea because he had some guy screaming about, I spend $10,000 a year in this store. I should get whatever. And the manager said, sir, whether you spend 1 penny in my store or 10,000 pennies in my store, I treat everybody the same. And I was like, Dang, that's really because you do see people who
Yeah.
kowtow to people who spend more money, and he's like,
Yep.
nope.
That's a
So point is that we all have life experience and we need to use that. And that's your USP. And you do that really, really well. Hey, there's no reason to learn how to own your role on your own. If you like that clip, go ahead and click right here for another one. Or if you want to watch the entire podcast, go ahead and click right here. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.